Hello, my beautiful soul family. How are you guys doing? This may not be a very long video. It's super impromptu. I made a few quick notes and I'm just going to go through these notes with you. Before we start off on soul fragmentation, I just wanted to say that it was an absolute pleasure reading all your comments to the retreat highlight video. 95% of you said the same thing, that you bawled and bawled and bawled. And you had some kind of a soul remembering, you had some kind of a soul longing. And all I can say is that this is truly what I feel is I have cried too, Siman cries too. When we see that, we really go back to the Christ consciousness energy that I think we're all feeling drawn to, we're all craving. And this Christ conscious energy is so powerful, it's so soothing, it's so multi-dimensional that a lot of you are feeling that energy that we were encased in, enclosed in that whole week of the retreat. And one person actually emailed us, I'm talking about you guys from Colombia, I forget your name, but the couple from Colombia, they literally say they watch all our videos and they said no 10-minute video has ever made us bawl this much. We're going through multiple boxes of tissue like Kleenex and we literally had to stop, blow our noses. I don't think they said that, but they said we literally had to stop, take a break from the crying and write to you. And even as we're writing this email, we're sobbing. And it's very, very beautiful, isn't it? It's also so beautiful that we have attracted each other, because I truly, from the bottom of my heart, feel like there is a certain vibration, a certain resonance of old souls, ancient souls. We just get each other. We're not in our ego, we're in our integrity, we're in our love, we're not in judgment. And I feel like we're finding each other finally, because Earth has so many different kinds of people. It has so many vibrations. It's not just positively polarized and negatively polarized. Even in the positively polarized, there's so many spectrums. There's young souls, and then there's people more in their, I don't want to label it, but there's so many different kinds of people. And I feel like we're all just attracted to each other. Look at how beautiful the birds are, the chirping is. We just are all attracted to each other because of a vibrational resonance. And I'm so happy that you all feel it. There was one lady from Malaysia, I don't know her name, but she left a voice message, actually a video message on the Telegram. I didn't know you guys could do that. And man, it was so beautiful. Like, she's fully in her power. She's not shy. She says, she left such a beautiful message. Go back to my Telegram chat and look out for her. She's left a video message as a comment on my Telegram. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Soul family, we're coming together and we are all ready. We're ready to walk on our ascension path. We're ready to drop the bullshit. We're ready to drop the stories. And it is an absolute honor to be guiding you. It is such an honor to be guiding you through YouTube, through our events, through whatever channels the divine opens up for us. It is an absolute honor. It is such a beautiful feeling to be on this path, and this is only the beginning. That is all I can say. This is just the beginning. I love you guys. I love you guys deeply. So let's move on to the topic today. It's of soul fragmentation. It's been coming at me for a few days now, and I just felt like I had to sit down, and I haven't prepared or anything. We're just going to go and just chat. We're just going to channel. We'll see what comes up. Soul fragmentation is when it happens to all of us, and many of us are not even aware of it. Soul fragmentation is when it can happen on a day-to-day basis. It can happen on an hourly basis. It is when a part of your soul has fragmented from the whole and is left behind in a past timeline, in a past reality. So what happens is you feel fragmented because you've left behind a part of your soul in a past timeline. And we're going to give you examples. Before we get into the examples, some common occurrences when souls fragment are, we're not going to talk about all of them now, but childhood trauma. So, many of us have gone through a lot of childhood emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, whatever the case may be, where it has been so nasty or so shocking or so traumatic for us that we have what happens in those stages of extreme trauma is the soul, we can't handle it. We, in our physical capacity, in our physical bodies, it's impossible. It's extremely hard and also overwhelming, that's the word, for us to handle this trauma. So what we do is we fragment that part of us. We somehow numb ourselves. We completely numb ourselves, and to be able to handle that trauma, our soul fragments, and that part of us, that is the scared little child or the child in shock, fragments off and locks itself off in order to not affect the whole. Okay, so that part fragments off and encloses itself off so that it doesn't harm or affect the whole. And then much later in life, when we start doing our trauma healing, our shadow healing and all of that, we then go back into our inner child. We go back and we pull through our inner child healing. We pull back all aspects of ourselves that we've left behind in the past because it was too hard for us to be able to deal with it. One example that's coming to mind right now is when I was 17 years old, my father thought it necessary to lock me in my bedroom for 3 days straight and just slide in breakfast, lunch and dinner 3 times a day. I wasn't allowed any visitors. I felt like shit. Like I remember just lying in my little room. It didn't even have a bathroom. So every time I had to go to the bathroom, I had to knock on the door and they would let me out. And for 3 whole days, it was almost like solitary confinement. No TV, no music, no books, nothing. I was just in my room, lying in bed at the age of 17, maybe because I had bunked school and gone to a party or something stupid like that. It has taken me so many decades to go back and heal that fragmented version of myself. There have been many fragmented versions. That's not the only one. Every single time I went through abuse, there has been, and this goes for all of you, each version has fragmented off. And many of you are seeing an innocent side of me emerge. Like when I put up that picture in the hot spring, many of you commented, wow, this is like a beautiful merging of innocence and power. And that happens when you heal all aspects of your inner child that had fragmented off because it was just too much to bear, too much for the inner child, too much for your inner child to handle. So all those fragmented pieces, when you start healing them and you start giving them love, they start integrating back into you. So you start retrieving all aspects of your own soul that you've left behind in the past, and then you start feeling whole and you start expressing yourself as this whole divine being. So a lot of you are seeing the changes in me because I've done all this work. I have gone back to my childhood and taken every little aspect where I felt like I had fragmented. And there were many, right from the time I was 3 years old to the time I was 18 years old, when I remember I was pregnant. And my parents said, we don't want to have anything to do with it. I was even married at the time. I had run away from home at the age of 18. And my husband at the time had moved to Dubai, saying, I'll find a job and then I'll call you over. And I was staying in a paying guest home because my parents hadn't accepted me. And I realized I was pregnant at the age of 18. I had no money, not even barely any money. And they said, we don't want to have anything to do with it. So I remember going to a government hospital, like a really, really low-end government hospital where there was no anesthesia. I'm sorry to be going a bit gory here, but I'll make it quick. I went into a hospital where there was no anesthetic. They literally had to, I just walked in there in the morning and I said, hey, I need a DNC because I can't even afford to eat. What am I going to do? How am I going to support this child? And they literally washed the floors of the hospital with Dettol and phenyl. And I remember 8 nurses held me down and they scooped me out. They did the DNC. And they didn't have anesthetic, they didn't have morphine, they didn't have any of that because it was called Herge Aspatri, which really is like where all in India, it's a very class system based. It was where all the maid servants and people who didn't have insurance, people who didn't have money went, so they didn't have any facilities. And right after my anesthetic, which happened in pure consciousness, I wasn't even made unconscious. 8 nurses literally held me down. I was said, all right, you're ready to leave now, you can go home. And I went home, back to my paying guest house, and it was brutal. I had to climb 3 stairs of flights, and I slept, and I didn't wake up for 48 hours. I slept for 48 hours straight. And then I woke up, and I remember the neighbor, there was this guy, I still remember his name was Ashok. He was frying fish, and I walked into him. He was a bachelor, like it was a bachelor pad. I said, can I please get something to eat? I'm really hungry. And I ate like probably 25 fish. Anyway, so that part of mine had also fragmented because it was too much pain to bear. And so how do you go back and heal all these sides? You literally, right now, you have the capacity to go back. It all starts by loving yourselves. You go back in time and you go back and you put all your focus on that version of you. So in my case, it was that girl locked up in her bedroom for 3 days. It was that girl at age 18 who had nobody, not her mother, not her father, no friends, nobody to give her a little, like something as simple as $100 or $50 could have got me a proper hospital, but there was nobody to give me that money. And I went through so much pain because I had no support. So going back to all these versions and just holding them in your arm, holding that version of you like a little baby lying in your arm and say, I love you. I am so sorry you had to go through that. I am so sorry you had to go through that. And I love you. And it's okay now. We're safe now. We are safe now. You are safe now. You're safe with me now. And your inner child won't always believe you. When you say you're safe with me, your inner child will not just believe you. You have to prove to your inner child that you are safe. You have to prove to them that you will not abuse them anymore. You will not let them be abused anymore. You will not let anybody speak down to you or abuse you or hit you or be a narcissistic to you. And then you gain the trust of your inner child, and then your inner child starts to believe you, and then your inner child starts to heal. And you watch her heal. You literally say, all right, you're with me now. And you let your inner child lay in your arm. That's how I do it. You let your inner child lay in your arm and you just hold your inner child for long periods of time. It could be half an hour, it could be an hour. And you will start seeing in your psychic vision, this version starting off as very like numb. Numb is the word. Like my inner child was so numb. She was just numb from all the pain that she had endured. So much pain to be burnt and beat and, thrown in a facility with no anesthetic. And it's not easy. And a lot of us have gone through all of this. So healing that brings back the fragmented versions of our own souls. And healing is not hard. You don't need a healer to facilitate for you. All you have to do is carve out alone time, quiet time, solo time, and go back down memory lane and spend time. You can choose one different version of your inner child every week, let's say, and it's an ongoing process. It may take a few years. You slowly build that trust with your inner child and you say, it is okay now. It is safe now. And then you start seeing that part, that fragmented part of you healing and coming back to the whole. So what are some of the other areas where you can fragment? That's what I actually wanted to talk about today. I just segued out into abuse, which it just channeled through me. So a few things, I wrote it down here. Trauma, abuse, extreme shock, addictions can also cause a lot of you to fragment, like addictions, sexual addictions, porn addictions, any kind of addictions. When you're an addictive personality is a very fragmented state. Overthinking, over-analyzing, that's a big one. That's what I want you guys to focus on. Overthinking, over-analyzing everything. This is in your day-to-day life. When you're overthinking, when you're over-stressing, when you're over-analyzing, you're in a constant state of fragmentation because you're not in the now. You're in the past or you're in the future. And that's not where you want to be because the past is just a fiction of your memory. It's already happened. So think of it as a slide. It's a movie. It's a movie that has already passed. But if your mind keeps you in the past, you're stuck in the past because you've left a part of you in the past. How can you be whole? How can you be full, whole, divine, in your divine authority right now if you're stuck in the past? And many of you are stuck in the future, like, oh, well, what if then, and how, maybe I'll be happy then, maybe I'll be happy when New Earth arrives. That's another part of fragmentation. You're then in the future. It's important to be in the now. Like try that right now. Like watch these beautiful trees and the birds. How do you get to the now? You tune into your senses. You tune into the sense of hearing. You hear the birds? Then you tune into the sight. You look at the greenery around you. So you hear, you see, you taste. What does your mouth taste like right now? And then can you feel the gentle breeze caress your skin? And when all these 4 or 5 senses start working together, just like that, you're in the now. You're in your body. You're not stuck in the past. You're not stuck in the future. You're not thinking all over the place. This is the easiest way to come to the now. Sight, touch, even touch. Like when you touch yourself, you can only do this. This is very in the now. So take periods of time constantly where you do this, like throughout the day. Put your hands on your heart and tune into all the senses. And do it for extended periods of time. And that's how you slowly transition from your head into your heart. You transition from the past or the future into the now moment. Okay? Another thing that fragments you is every time you say yes when you mean no. This could happen with partners, it could happen with lovers, this could happen with your parents, this could happen with friends. You know you want to say no, but for some reason you have guilt. It could even happen with your children. You're saying yes. This fragments a part of you because your soul, your higher self, has just one answer. The answer is, in this case, if it's not aligning to your higher self, and you know it, subconsciously you know it, but you keep saying yes. You bring back the same patterns, the same recurring horrible patterns that you're trying to let go of, but you keep drawing them back. That fragments your soul. Anytime you allow someone to trample your boundaries, that's a big one. That's another part of soul fragmentation. So I'm going to give you an example which I think a lot of you can relate to. Many years ago, I was 20 years old and I went to Turkey, Istanbul. Man, I love Istanbul. It was amazing. And I remember seeing this gorgeous, and I was 18. So remember, like when I talk about the amounts, you'll resonate. I saw this gorgeous ring just on a sidewalk. Somebody was selling this gorgeous ring. It was huge. It had like little crystals embedded in it. And I said to him, how much? I wanted it just on like the sidewalk. It wasn't even in a fancy store. And he said $500. Now Turkey is ridiculous for pricing. Like now that I'm a seasoned shopper in Turkey, I know how to bargain. So if somebody says 500, I'll say, hey, will you take 50? Like literally, I went to buy some Turkish rugs a few years ago and they would quote me $10,000 and I would say, well, would you take $2,000? Like it's ridiculous how much they, mark it up. But when I was 20, I had no sense of bargaining. I didn't know how to bargain. I just thought, oh my God, he's asking for 500. So I said, can you do a bit better? And he said no. And I bought the ring for $500, which was in those days equivalent for me like to $10,000. It was like a crazy high amount. I went back to my room and I started freaking out. I'm like, I don't know, is this ring even silver? He said it's silver, but I don't know if it's silver. I don't know what I was thinking. Why the hell did I pay so much? I'm such an idiot. Why did I pay $500? Oh my God, what if he's a cheat? So I went into a crazy panic that lasted several days. And many of you can relate because this happens in the grocery store. It can happen anytime. You buy a box of cookies when you're on a diet and you go home and you feel like shit. Because you're over analyzing, oh my God, why did I buy the cookies? Damn it, why did I eat the cookies? I'm trying to lose weight. I'm such an idiot. So we're constantly, we have this bully in our heads that's constantly, this chatterbox bully that's constantly nagging at us, trying to get us to feel like shit. Fast forward several years later, I'm 44 now, so fast forward to the current day. How do I handle these situations? I handle them by completely detaching from once I've made a decision, whatever the decision, whether it is to eat 5 Oreo cookies or to throw away the bag of Oreo cookies without eating it, because I know that it's not meant for me. Whatever the decision, whether it's this or it's this, what I have done is I have trained myself. You have to train yourself. This is the tool. Tool number 1. Train yourself to get detached, completely detached once you have made the decision. So don't dwell on it. Don't sit and say, oh my God, I bought this. What do I do? Once you buy the ring, Because once you buy the ring, your chatterbox bully will say, why did you buy the ring? Who do you think you are paying $500? What if it's not silver? Let's say you don't buy the ring. The chatterbox is not just going to leave you alone. The bully in your head will say, you didn't buy the ring? Oh my God, you poor you. Like, look at you. You make good money. You can easily buy $500, but you didn't even buy the ring. Now you don't even remember where the shop is. Oh my God, it was such a beautiful ring. Call your friend, tell your friend what a stupid mistake you made by not buying the ring. You see how nagging that voice is? Same thing in the grocery store. Like, if you buy a bag of cookies and you decide to eat a few cookies, you can either feel like shit about it, or you can say, all right, I ate 3 cookies, so what? Now I have 2 decisions. I either throw the bag of Oreos in the garbage, or I put it away because I'm a master. I may choose to eat 3 more in 5 days, and that's okay. Be fully okay with your decisions. That is step number 1. It is so important. Be fully okay with your decisions. Once you make it, detach from it. Tool number 2. When you find these compulsive thoughts constantly nagging at you, know the vibration of these thoughts are not the vibration of your higher self. Your higher self will never nag you. Your higher self will never make you feel like shit. Your higher self will only uplift you. So know the vibration of this voice, this nagging voice. If it's constantly nagging you, making you feel like shit, another tool number 2, is physically imagine this thought connected to you, and imagine a pair of scissors and snip it off. Snip it off and say, I am not going to feed this thought anymore. It is easier said than done, because this thought's going to constantly come in front of you, constantly, in 10 different ways. The ego is very smart. It's very cunning. Okay? It's not gentle and kind and loving like your higher self. So this thought, if you snip it here, it'll come in 10 other ways. It'll say, do you want to call your friend and maybe tell her what a lovely ring you didn't buy? Or it'll literally, you'll be driving on the highway and you'll see this gorgeous ring that'll remind you of the ring you didn't buy. I'm just giving you an example. Now, when that happens, remember not to feed that thought. That's extremely important. Don't feed the thought. Don't aid the thought. Literally train. You have to train yourself. This is not going to be just like, oh, I have the tool, now I can do it. You have to train yourself, saying, no, this is a destructive thought that's trying to get me. And what have I taught you guys? What you focus on grows. So by simply not focusing on this thought and instead focusing on what brings you joy, focusing on the present moment, when you go into the present moment, all you're doing is you're sitting like that and saying, no, I'm not going to aid that thought. I'm just going to enjoy the chirping of the birds. I'm going to enjoy this gentle breeze caressing me. I'm going to go into gratitude for how amazing my life is. I'm a light worker on earth at this time. Holy shit, at this historical time, I'm a light worker on this planet. How lucky, how blessed am I? New Earth is just around the corner. I can feel it. When you start shifting your focus, this thought, it's like it's barking up the wrong tree. Nobody's even looking at it. It's going to try to get you to look at it, and you're saying, keep barking. Keep barking. I'm going to focus on the breeze and my joy. And this can bark as loud as it wants, and eventually it just literally fizzles off. And that's what an ego death is. An ego death is multi-dimensional. It doesn't just happen one day. I'm going through some very, very fine lessons of ego death, which I'll make another day. Ego just doesn't mean having an ego. Ego death literally means being okay with nothingness. Being okay with just sitting idle, not having any temptations, not having any soul family, not having any friends, not having any entertainment, not having anything, and just being okay with it. Complete ego death. So I'm going through that, which I'll make another video on. But start training yourself not to aid this, okay? That's very important. Tool number 3, go to the root cause of what program you're vibrating that's taking you away, taking you into the state of fragmentation. Go to the root cause. In the case of this ring, Perhaps it is, I am not worthy. It could be, I am not worthy of spending $500 on myself. That could be the root cause of this program that your ego attaches to. Or it could be, I feel guilty that I'm spending so much money on myself. And ask yourself, why should I feel guilty about spending money on myself? I would buy my son a $500 video game. This is a true story. I would buy my son a $500 video game every week, no problem. But when it came to buying myself something for $500 every week, I'd be like, I don't think I need it. I don't think I need it. So we make up all these stories. We put ourselves last. So go to the root cause of why am I feeling this way? Let's say you eat 5 cookies and you feel like shit. Go to the root cause of it. Okay, so first of all, am I not a master? Am I not a master? Of course I am. So what? I've eaten 4 cookies. I can just go for a jog and burn it off. I can just go to the, a nice infrared sauna and burn it off. Maybe this will help me motivate, like I'll get out of this rut. I'm going to use these 4 cookies as the motivation to get out of this rut. And why did I even eat the cookies? If I ate them and I felt like shit, maybe I'm missing something in life. Maybe I have a void in my heart. Maybe I feel like I'm missing out on something, and so I'm stuffing my face with cookies. So then you go into the deeper layer of, okay, why do I have this void? Oh shit, maybe I need to spend more time with myself. Maybe I need to have more boundaries with other people. Maybe I need to exercise and go for more yoga and do more vibe things that make me feel alive. Because remember, it's only when you feel vibrant that you feel like it, that's when you start feeling full, where you don't need a cookie to satisfy you. It actually works the other way around. It's when you're feeling low vibration is when you want to stuff your face with cookies, smoke weed all day, just drink all night, because you're drowning yourself in your pain. So always go to the root cause of why am I feeling fragmented right now? Let's say you call your friend and you don't feel good. Like when you call your friend or your mother or your father or your colleague, how do you feel? Do you feel uplifted or do you feel drained? That is an indication right there. Simple. How do you feel? It's not what you think. How do you feel? So when you feel like crap, you instantly know, oh my God, I'm not feeding my higher self. Why am I calling this person? Go to the root cause of it. Oh my God, I'm constantly calling this person because I am scared that I may be without friends. I am scared that I may be all alone. And yes, just because I haven't met friends of my vibration right now, I am still energizing these cords, energizing these threads that have expired a long time ago. They're not even on the same vibration. They're not even on a vibration of gratitude. They're not even awake. And yet I while away my time with them. You go to the root cause. Because if you keep energizing old cords, how are you going to move to new earth? So you always analyze, use your daily lives as an analysis of where are you feeling like crap? Where are you feeling fragmented? And what is the root cause of that? Somebody else, like let's say you're constantly calling your mother, even though your mother or your parents, I'm just making this up as I speak. Let's say they're constantly abusing you, making you feel like shit. And you know, your higher self knows that you need better boundaries. You know that you need to have boundaries and say, Mom, I love you, but you know what? I need to do me right now. So I'm taking a 3-month break. I'm going to go on an inward journey and I will be in touch in 3 months. I love you and I'm not going to be checking my WhatsApp. I'm not going to be checking my email or my Facebook. And I expect you to give me the privacy that I need right now. Respect my space. And then block yourself. Physically block her on the phone, WhatsApp, whatever you need, email. So take that time for yourself. Instead, what do? That's what your higher self wants you to do, let's say. Mostly that's the case. Your higher self always wants you to take solo time to get to know yourself better. But you do the opposite. So then you go to the root cause of why am I doing that? Maybe, just maybe, I feel guilty because my parents are throwing at me all this guilt for being a bad daughter and not calling all the time and not being there for them and telling them I'm awake and they're not and telling them not to take the jab. So maybe your parents are throwing guilt at you and you're catching the guilt and swallowing it and saying, yes, throw it at me, throw more guilt at me. I'm worthless. I have no self-respect. Throw more guilt at me because I deserve to wallow in guilt and self-pity and blame because I am not worthy. So go to the root cause of this. If your parents are projecting guilt at you, that's their problem. Whether you catch it or not, whether you attach it or not, is yours. All these aspects that you're going through on a day-to-day basis are fragmenting you at a microscopic level, and you don't even know it. This is what causes human beings to feel in a state of unease, dis-ease, like not vibrant and joyful and happy, because we're constantly fragmenting. And what happens when you fragment? You're like, oh my God, I called my mother, now I feel like shit. Oh, like you're always like you're torn. You're like this. You don't have the clarity. And then how will your guide start channeling through you when you're in that state of, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that? You were meant to do everything you did. You were meant to do everything that you did. There's no, I shouldn't have done that. There is no such thing. Everything that you have done has prepared you for what you needed to be today. Everything that has come to you through your life, every interaction, and I mean every interaction, every animal, every interaction, every accident, every challenge, every blessing, everything, every fight, every argument, every card you've been dealt with has meant to teach you something. So thinking about why did I do that? Oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. You're fragmenting yourself and you're leaving a part of yourself in the past. I wish I had this much money. Oh man, I wish I made more money. Damn it, I'm such an idiot. This is how you're bullying yourself. And it's so important for you to snap the hell out of it right now. So tool number 4, which I've already shared, is tune into whether that voice is the loving whisper of your higher self or the bullying, derogatory voice of your ego trying to bully you into feeling bad. So when you follow these 4 tips, which I'll repeat here for you, I'll actually put it up on a screen here. Tip number 1, practice detachment, detached to all outcomes. Tip number 2, imagine you're cutting a cord to that compulsive thought or pattern or situation, snap it and watch it wither into ashes. Tip number 3, don't feed that thought. It will try to tempt you by suggesting a whole range of suggestions. Don't feed the thought. Tip number 4, tune into whether that voice nagging you is a loving voice motivating you, like your higher self would, or it's a derogatory voice that is trying to separate you from the divinity that you are, that is trying to put you in a state of low vibration that makes you feel like crap. Hope that helped. 2 real quick examples that come to mind that just happened a few days ago. So I was at that beautiful retreat center that I told you about, which had an amazing spa and everything. I'm used to world-class massages, so I'm really particular about the quality of my massages. Not particular, like I'm used to good massage therapists. So I went to this spa, and on the last day I booked a 2-hour massage with one of the ladies that I really I jived well with. We had some great conversations. And within 40 minutes of her starting to massage me, I was like, I don't want this massage. So I said to her, you know what, we're just going to end it in 1 hour. We're just going to do 1 hour and forget it. It's raining, you guys. It's raining. Okay. So she finished the hour, but she was so loving towards me, and she used essential oils, and we were like, I liked her. I liked her personality. So I left her a $10 tip. And when I went to the room, I got that voice saying, oh, you're not even in your mastery. Like, you just had a crappy massage and you still gave her $10. Like, what were you trying to prove? The voice in me right now is very less. It's not as nagging, but it happens to this day. So now instead of the voice being like this, it's more like it's trying to get my attention. And I'm like, really? Like, really? So all I had to do was say, you know what? It's a choice. I could have left her no tip and that would be okay. And I could have left her a $100 tip and that would be okay. It's my choice. So when you detach that voice's influence on you right away, it has no power over you. It has no power over you. If not, trust me, it'll constantly nag you. Oh man, you gave her an extra $1. Now call the manager and see if they can reverse it. You still can do something about it. It was such a bad massage and you're paying $200 an hour in this high-end spa for a massage. $200 for that crappy massage. Saman can massage you way better than that. Now call the manager. It can go off on a loop of its own if you don't check it. You think, oh, you're being proactive, and before you know it, you're just You're just literally, your ego is riding you like a bitch on a horse. I don't know why I keep saying it, but I love it. So are you letting your ego ride you? Or are you in charge? Another example, let's say you're sitting in the sun, and man, this happens to me to this day. So half of me is, I'm basking in the sun, I'm getting all these amazing codes, I'm getting all these downloads. And the other half is, oh shit, I don't have sunscreen on, I don't want to get freckles. I use organic sunscreen, but I still use sunscreen on my face because when I didn't, for the 1 year I went to Mexico, I got like these sunspots. So even then, don't fragment yourself. Either sit in the sun and be fully okay with receiving all this sun and say, it doesn't matter if I get a few freckles, it's okay. Or remove yourself from the situation, go back, apply some sunscreen, and then come back. Whatever you decide, you either do this or you do that. You're in full acceptance of your choices. And that does not mean if you're in a shitty marriage or like you have to just accept it. You have to understand the vibration of the difference of just being a pushover. That's not what I'm asking you to do. When you make a choice, let's say you're in a crappy relationship and you have chosen to stay in it. You have chosen to stay in it. So there's no point going into victim consciousness saying, I'm in a crappy marriage, oh my God, like I don't know. That's just going to lower your vibration. Instead, say, all right, today I don't have the balls, I don't have the courage, I'm in fear to leave this relationship, but dear God, dear guides, please give me all the assistance I need to leave. Give me all the resources, the strength, the inner motivation I need to leave. So when you go into mastery instead of victim consciousness, your whole reality shifts and you're in full acceptance of every single choice of yours, every single bulge in your body, every single stretch mark in your body, every single cellulite in your body, cellulite bump. Be in full acceptance. Because that is what is going to move you towards your higher self. And it's going to help you morph into the divine being that you are. I love you guys, and I look forward to reading your comments on how this helped. And what else? Don't forget to sign up to our email address if you haven't already, www.eldorandsiman.love, because these platforms are all very shaky. So make sure you sign up to our email address. And our Telegram group is Eldora Siman. Okay, I'll put them both down here. I love you guys. Take care.